Guys, I'm back to my Smackdown review. I know normally during the day I record over there, but I still have my little setup from yesterday when I recorded here and I can't be bothered. It's very, very technical. I have my box set of DVDs and 3 Xbox games. That's what provides my stand for recording when I'm over here. Just so you know, just because you might want to know how I position my camera. But anyway, I have some very serious advice that I have to give to you before I commence with this review. If you have not seen Smackdown yet, do not watch it. Do not waste your time with what is one of the most soul-destroying shows I've ever seen in my whole life. It was horrendous, seriously bad. If you're 5 years old, that's fine. You'll probably find it amusing and enjoy it. But anybody else seriously hated it. Seriously. Right, I kind of went against my own saying what I said before. I actually was on Twitter during a show, right, actually tweeting about the show. Not that I really did loads, it wasn't after every single match, and mainly I was just kind of replying to what other people were saying. It's very distracting though, you have to admit. When you're trying to watch wrestling, but you've got I had my iPod, because I was on my sofa, so I was at the computer, so I was on my iPod, I was trying to watch it and do that at the same time. It's very confusing and very hard to kind of follow the wrestling when you're too busy doing that. But anyway, so, and everybody pretty much who I was talking to agreed with me how awful of a show it was. It was just so bad. So anyway, let's begin this dreadful Smackdown review. So Mick Foley comes out at the start, obviously dressed as Santa Claus, and I think that was one of the the problems was, fair enough, if it was actually in December or the week before Christmas maybe, it might have been a bit more bearable, but it's still November, and they're obviously everything, they've got Christmas trees, snow, everyone's dressed up in costumes, and it's it's November, why are you doing this already? That makes no sense. But anyway, even Mick Foley was I know it's only November, but we're going to do this anyway, and it's right. So he introduces Michael Cole and Booker T. Michael Cole's dressed up as a reindeer, Booker T's dressed as Santa Claus, and it's okay. So he makes Booker T do a spinneroonie as Santa Claus, so it's okay. This is a weird opener. And then Cody Rhodes comes out, and I'm oh, finally. So he interrupts and just basically, has a go at Booker T and says that, he's just a washed up announcer or whatever, he's not a champion, blah blah. So then Mick Foley makes Michael. So then Mick Foley makes a match between Cody Rhodes and Booker T, and Booker T's yeah, I'm cool with that, whatever. So that was the opening segment, which was just pretty much terrible. But never mind. So I was right, ignore this. It's gonna get better. Yeah, I was wrong. The Divas were then in a match which was called a mistletoe on a pole match, and Mick Foley was oh, whoever wins this one can get a wish or whatever, or something along those lines, if you know what I mean. And that's all he said. So anyway, Brie Bella wins, and it's right. The one thing I found weird was that Natalya was in this, and she was happily dressed up, in a little Santa Clausy kind of outfit, all smiley and happy, and I'm wait a minute, isn't that a bit weird? Shouldn't she refuse to be in this, or at least not dress in a little outfit? But whatever. Anyway, that's just going beside the point. So Brie Bella wins, and she's yeah, I'm gonna get a Divas Championship match. Then Mick Foley comes out, and he's oh no, I didn't say you get that. It means that you can cash in a kiss on anyone you want up until Christmas. Wait a minute, are we watching wrestling, or are we watching some weird kind of show? Well, anyway, you guys can answer that for yourselves. So, then we have Justin Gabriel versus Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal was just, lame. So then, obviously, because he has a go at the start, does he actually start? I think he does. Oh, I can't remember. This show was so bad, I haven't written a lot of notes, really. I was obviously saying, yeah, talking about how it's pathetic, and, Christmas, I don't know, it was sort of saying bad stuff about Christmas, saying, oh, you just spend it, buying, presents, for people who you barely like, blah, 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 and we're just going on about saying that you shouldn't buy Christmas presents and stuff. And then, so during the match, Ted DiBiase comes out, pretending to be Santa, and, handing out, presents to the crowd, which obviously distracts Jinder Mahal, and then, Justin Gabriel wins with the 450 splash. It's right then, another, rubbish match. And then backstage, Booker T is being interviewed before his match, but Cody, hits him with, the Intercontinental title belt, and, yeah, so then the match gets called off, and it's oh, okay then. Fair enough, whatever. So then we have Kofi Kingston versus Tyson Kidd. All it seems to be on this match is that, there's, Smackdown people facing, jobbers. There's no actual proper matches on this one. I guess it was supposed to be aimed at the little kids, the people who they wanted to win, whatever, but it seems that everyone else who's over the age of 10 was just waiting for, Daniel Bryan versus Mark Henry. But anyway, so yeah, Kofi Kingston versus Tyson Kidd, yeah, not much to say about this match either, really, because obviously Cole's dressed as a reindeer, like I said, so Kofi, gets his, reindeer mask and puts it on, and then does a diving crossbody off the top for the win. So it's ooh, diving reindeer. Anyway, so that was that. Randy Orton then faced David Otunga in a Miracle on 34th Street fight. Because as they all like kept saying, just adding fight on the end of that. Yeah, it was just literally, I haven't seen, I can't remember the last time that I saw David Otunga actually wrestling in a match, but whatever. So, you know, he was basically, Orton just kind of pretty much owned him for most of the match, whipped him into the Christmas trees, which was like the best things about that match, and they hit Otunga with a baking tray. And then, yeah, he hits the DDT, like, off the apron onto the floor, which is quite nice. But then Wade Barrett comes out and attacks Orton, and obviously he thinks that he's helped Otunga win, but Orton kicks out, and then he hits the RKO for the win. So, again, like I say, main wrestler wins over jobber person. So then we have the All I Want for Christmas Battle Royal, which has got to be the worst thing that happened on this show. It's just like a joke. I mean, they're supposed to be doing it for like the comedy value and because it's like the Christmas spirit, but it's, oh no, it was so annoying. It's basically whoever won got like a wish or whatever. They had their wish granted by Santa. And so the last two people in this match were Sheamus and Hornswoggle. Because I was obviously, like I said, I wasn't paying attention properly. I thought Hornswoggle got eliminated at the start. I honestly did. So, of course, when he came back in later, I was like, what's he doing here? He's been eliminated. But obviously I can't have been paying attention. So, you know. So basically, Sheamus and Hornswoggle are in there. Sheamus tells Hornswoggle to eliminate himself. Hornswoggle's like being stubborn and tells Sheamus to eliminate himself. And I can see why it was funny, but it was just like really annoying. So anyway, they're both like on the outside of, you know, the ring, and so obviously because Sheamus is trying to get Hornswoggle eliminated, but he's just grabbing onto the ropes, and he tells him to jump down. And then obviously, you know, Hornswoggle's like bracing himself, and then Sheamus, you know, kind of goes to kind of help him down, but then Hornswoggle pushes him off. So Hornswoggle wins, and it's like, oh my word. Part of me just died. But, you know, whatever. So then they went backstage and he wished to be able to talk, and then he could talk. And the only slightly funny thing about that was that he was going around, like, you know, saying the names of what things were, and when Vicky Guerrero was there, he said Grandma. That was quite funny. But, you know, it's still annoying anyway, so anyway, I won't go on about that too much. So then we had the main event, you know, which everyone's been kind of waiting for. And then, you know, it comes on, so obviously over here, you know, Smackdown was on between 1 and 3 a.m. And the main event started at about 2:47. So I'm thinking, right, we've got like 13 minutes to, you know, fit a cage match into. This isn't going to be great. And then they had like an advert break, or commercial, if you want to be American. We call it adverts over here. Advert break, you know, we're like 2 minutes into the match, and I was like, are you serious? See, this is why I like recording Smackdown on a Friday night, because I can just fast forward all of these adverts, having to sit through them. And I don't know why, but they show the exact same adverts over and over again. All I kept seeing was this advert for like this new comedy program called The Cafe, and I was like, oh, I've heard this joke like 1,000 times. Seriously, stop it. I'm complaining a lot today, but this show was bad. So yes, we had that match. Henry is pretty much, you know, in control for like the start of it. He does like a really nice clothesline. Daniel Bryan just like flips over in the air. That's quite nice. But then Bryan works on Henry's leg. Obviously, you know, he's just trying to weaken him as much as possible. Locks on the label lock, but Henry gets out of it. He locks on the ankle lock. Henry also manages to power out of that, and then Daniel Bryan almost escapes. Obviously, he climbs over the top because obviously Henry can't really climb over the top. But then he pulls Daniel Bryan back down and hits the World's Strongest Slam for the win. And yeah, that was pretty much it. So thankfully people, Henry is still the champion. I was like literally writing on like Facebook and Twitter, and I was like, please let Mark Henry win. If Daniel Bryan wins, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cancel. But you know, that was fine. I just laughed at the end because they cut it off. Obviously they must have like overrun slightly. They literally cut it off. So I think Henry was standing there holding his title up, shouting like, I don't know if he was like saying pain or something. It sounded like he was going pain, and then he said he went up, and then the cutting, like, you know, the taping ended, which was like really funny. I just find things funny like that because I'm like really sad. But no, I was absolutely shattered. That was like the most awful Smackdown that I've seen for quite a while, and you know, and I think it was just the fact that made it worse was the fact that I stayed up till like 3 in the morning to watch that, and it was so bad. Like, you know, it was the same with like WrestleMania. I stayed up till 4 o'clock, you know, I had work the next day. And you don't mind if it's really good, but when it's like such a dire show, you think, oh, why did I waste my time staying up to watch that? The only other thing is, I think they've like extended like the little vignette thing that they've done for like obviously Kane's return. Obviously it came up, actually showed like kind of like part of like Kane's face and stuff, and it actually came up and said Kane resurrected. So, big question, is he coming back with a mask, or is he just coming back as he was? I really want the mask, but then why would they show the mask burning? I honestly don't know, but, you know, we'll see what happens with that anyway. So yeah, that's my Smackdown review. I'm so sorry that it was such a negative review, but it honestly was an awful show. If there's anyone who, I've not yet to see anyone who, like, enjoyed the show. All I've seen on people's YouTube reviews and on forums is just, you know, how awful of a show it was. It was bad. If Smackdown was live and it was like that every week, then I would just say leave it taped. But, you know, oh, and the other thing I was going to say is, yeah, you can tell how they adjust, like, you know, the audience reactions normally on SmackDown, because Daniel Bryan, like, maybe like during the match a bit when he was about to escape, he got like cheers, but for his entrance and for most of the match, it was just quiet. Like, it really honestly was. So there's like no way that he would be like ready to like get like a actual title run yet. He's just not over enough, really. I know a lot of people on the internet are like, oh, Daniel Bryan's amazing, but really it was silent, like, when he, like, you know, was like entering and stuff and like the start of the match. But, you know, anyway, I'm going to end this review now before I like go on to anything else like negative. No, thanks for your comments on like my last few videos. Sorry that I've like overloaded you with like videos in like the last week, but you know, I'm sure you guys don't mind. But anyway, I'm going to go, so I'll see what happens at the weekend if I decide to do a video. But if you can think of anything that I can do, just let me know. It might just be like a random video, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!